What's going on, guys? Welcome to Vampy Book Club. Another Sunday, another Vampy Book Club for us. And we're going over issue 4. But you always know I have to bring in my co host here, my man, Mandel. What's going on? And then we're bringing in the other thing we're got to bring in is the issue. But then we won't be having nothing to look at. Here we go. That's something to look at. That's something to look at. But so the cover, so finding out this is we talked about Von Bode last week, right? We talked about Von Bode last week.
Yeah.
Come to find out come to find out that was Von Bode's. This is Von Bode's fourth cover for Warren, but he did two more covers before this one. Yeah, two more covers before this one. It was Creepy Eerie 26, and then he did another one with Larry Todd. I think this monkey one is with Larry Todd, and then this bird one is with, or either this bird one's with Larry Todd, I would think. But every covers he's done so far, it's been with a partner, with somebody like a co-artist.
Mhm.
So these two are by two other artists with him, and then this was number 4, and he did it with Jeffrey Catherine Johnson. So, if you notice, the gentleman has a female middle name, but the biggest thing was with both of these artists, he actually moved in with Von Bode. They actually moved in together after Jeff's. Well, the history behind Jeff is that he was married originally, got divorced, and found out he was because these two artists are big LGBTQ figures in the community, in the LGBTQ community. So they're big gay artist, gay icon artists. So that's one thing about Von Bode and Jeff, Jeffrey Johnson. So, and they were known for cross dressing too. So, but that's not here or there. But they were really good artists. That's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. They were really good artists. So here's the cover, and I actually found another probably a paint the actual painting or the actual outline of the painting. So let me bring that up real quick. Right here. So
Okay, it's the actual painting right here.
Yeah, this is the actual painting.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's
So
right.
that's the actual painting, and then the female and stuff. So that's cool, but I'm not sure if it's sold or not. But they were, yeah. So, but they were both, big,
Nothing,
big, yeah. What's
nothing
going
shows
on?
up on nothing shows up on heritage.
I looked it up. I actually looked it up. Not it didn't. Nothing showed up. Not that I know of. So, I mean, I can look and let everybody know next week,
okay.
whenever.
Yeah.
But I looked at it again, and I think I couldn't find it.
Mm.
But no, you know what I mean. So, but interest, all still 4 issues in, and we still have no Vampy, no Vampy story in it. What did you think about that?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I noticed a theme that it's very much like what they've been doing. What Warren has been doing with Vampirella is that using Vampirella like from what we have known to see, some of these horror TV shows
Yeah,
is yeah,
their version of Elvira,
yeah,
Crypt Keeper.
like
Yeah,
Elvira Tales from the Crypt and things like that,
right.
or even when I was a kid for the few years I lived in Tampa, there was a creature feature, things like that.
Yeah,
There's
that
the host,
guy,
yeah, Paul Bear, there's a Paul
Paul
Bear,
Bear.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's like a host. or even if you want to go to the other mystery one that from the black and white days, wh- which
Yeah,
I'll make a point that, as we go through the story is Twilight Zone. It had that one guy that hosting in the beginning. What's up, Bookworm? And yeah,
yeah,
so there was there's like the guy the host and playing a host, so
yeah.
which is so cool.
She's
Yeah,
pretty much playing a host, and
yeah.
then Dell actually read the issue. I've read the issue before, but what did you think of the issue so far, Dell?
So the issue is so far, issues are pretty cool. I read the main story that talking about here
Right.
is
So, dude, do
yeah
you remember who the who the writer was on this thing?
uh
Yeah.
I don't remember the writer on it. I think it says it on the bottom there.
Yeah. I just get
Uh,
did
Hold on, let me look
got
it
you.
up. I don't remember the name of the artist, but I just remember reading it. So it was a pretty cool. It was a fun story. There,
So yeah, so what did you
what?
think?
Yeah. So it looks like it was by Bill Parent. Parent?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bill Parent, and then
Bill,
it was,
David
I think,
Sinclair is the artist.
David
Sinclair.
Sinclair. Yeah.
Sinclair. It was the artist. Uh, so it was, the story behind it, from what over the quick rundown on it is pretty much looks like a guy landed on a different
Right.
planet, and this woman discovers this man going through it, discovers this man that had got stranded, and ends up being like an all woman planet. She has her creature that she's riding, as you see there. The artwork's pretty cool, kind of like she she's got. They find out that only to find out that the planet did have
Right.
men.
So yeah,
See,
so here's the guy.
here's the guy. Yeah, so here's
Yeah,
a
and then
guy.
here's a yeah, then here's Vampy up here telling you about it.
Yes, so, like she's doing her intro, kind of with the cheesy lines, and you
Right.
know, uh,
So
uh,
these so since Bookworm's asking if it's a modern modern or if it's older, it's yeah, it's the old
it's,
school Warren magazines. That's what
it's,
this
vin-
is. This is
it's
gonna
a
go.
vintage.
We're going over.
Yeah, it's vintage. It's
It's
pre 1975, so it's
yeah.
considered vintage.
It's vintage, and it's not a Frazetta cover, and it's not a you know what I mean. It's actually a Jeffrey Johnson and Jeffrey Johnson and Von Bode cover. So
Uh,
by two, by two LGBTQ community, big, big big hoopla history making artist from
yeah,
from that community.
yeah, exactly.
So
It's not Frazetta, but Frazetta has done a number of covers for just
yeah,
plus
yeah,
Vampirella and Warren issues, but
yeah,
this just not this one. So
just not
like,
this one. Yeah,
yeah, just not this one. Like and Jeff knows the guy. Jeff knows more than I do. I'm learning from Jeff. So
yeah. That's what this whole show's about is well, I'm teaching new people about Vampy, and then you guys read the old issues and see. I want to see what you guys think about it. I've read them before, so you
yeah,
know what I mean. It's just refresher for me. But I thought this story was really cool. How
yeah,
it's how it's how it's pretty much it reminded me of pretty much Wonder Woman, pretty much Wonder Woman esque, like Amazons and and then and Hercules, type type stuff. So kind of interesting.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
here's yes,
It
yeah.
was
So
very cool.
here's
It was
here's
very cool.
everything that Dell was talking about.
Yeah, so it's like right here, like she stumbles upon this man, and then she has to take him back to the what's referred to in the story as the Temple of One, pretty much the main, for lack of a better term, the main headquarters, you know,
Right,
to the
right,
leader,
yeah,
taking this foreign person to the leader,
right,
so which is interesting. Only to it goes on in the story, kind of like talking about how the planet used to have men, but there was like a weird plague A
Hold
virus.
on,
So
I can pull up that weird because it shows you the weird plague too. Like,
yes,
but like I
yeah.
think
Here,
it's like the next.
yeah, like
Here's
right here.
where it's talking about.
Yeah, here's where they meet with the leader,
Right.
the head empress, I guess. Uh, who
You notice the head empress almost looks like Vampy almost.
yeah, exactly. It looks a little vampy,
Almost.
vampy-ish, and it has
Yeah.
like a snake crown or something like that
Yeah.
on
So
it.
pretty much their version of Cleopatra pretty much
Yeah,
type
like
thing.
Cleopatra in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
head empress type of thing. So this is
Yeah.
pretty cool. It's like and then oh, it's I'll tell you what. This was kind of too cool too, cause only to find out that they essentially want to keep this man around
Right.
for breeding
The- for
purposes.
breathing purposes, like a cow. Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly, like a cow in a way for breeding
Yeah.
purposes. And so he ends up trying to escape. He
Yeah, but
did.
like what Del was saying, they showed now they showed the plague or whatever the thing that got all the guys dead because you can see they're telling the story of how they lost all the men on the planet.
Yeah, the solid man on the planet, and it was like a plague, like a weird plague virus that only affected men. It did not affect the women. So
I'm wondering if Brian K. Vaughan actually read this before he wrote his Why the Last Man story. Because this feels like the Why the Last Man,
yeah, yeah,
just not stretched out. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, as it progresses, they escape.
Right,
The empress realizes that she's gonna that they're escaping, especially the man's taking the woman that found them
right.
to back to his planet, and only to as he takes her, it's like, oh yeah, she's going to say to him, oh yeah, it's like I could be all yours and this and that, and it's like, and his response is, well, yeah, that's a cool idea, but I don't think the others will appreciate it.
Yeah, like
Oh,
this
because
part of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
this part right
this
here.
part you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't think the others will appreciate it because he comes from a planet of all men. So the moral of the story is the irony. There's a
Yeah,
weird irony behind it.
right.
That
You don't judge a book by its cover, pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. It's like she comes from a planet of all women, and he's comes from a planet of all men. That sort of kind of
Yeah,
reminds me of where I was referring to the Twilight Zone. It sort of reminds me of like it's something that could be out of the Twilight Zone, the
yeah.
old black and white Twilight
Like
Zone.
that was me and Del were talking before we got on. A lot of these first couple of issues are like Twilight Zone type stories where she's introducing you to the story like the Twilight Zone guy would, and then the door would open and you would go get into the story. Pretty
Yeah,
much that's what these first pretty much these first couple of issues are for 5, 6. Yeah, because Vampy doesn't return until
yeah,
number 8, and then they introduce a shit ton of people in 8. So it's like, eh, because like I was telling you before, they didn't believe this would sell. They didn't believe she would sell, and then they went, oh, but everybody loved the Twilight. I'm guessing that's what they assumed. Everybody loved the Twilight Zone, so let's throw the Twilight Zone in this. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Because I think it was like Twilight Zone was a pretty popular. So just during the old
Yeah.
black and white
But
days.
after
Yeah,
you bringing it up about like a plague took out the guys and everything like that, because if I well I'm gonna compare it to, if you guys ever read the Why the Last Man stuff, pretty much Brian, I'm not sure how old Brian K. Vaughan was at this time, but you know what I mean. It's out of the 70s. Actually, let me look. He may have read this when he was younger. You know, when he was a teenager or something, and got and the idea was sitting in his head already for the Why the Last Man. It was just when he read this, it just maybe it streamlined his idea.
mm,
Because if we look at it, it almost looks like the Why the Last Man, how Why the Last Man starts. Like if anybody's ever read Why the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan, it's pretty much how Brian K. Vaughan's story starts. it's
Yeah,
one magician, one funny looking kid that looks like a magician, and he's the only guy still living on Earth. But see, but he tells it from Earth. This one's actually on another planet.
yeah. So it's on another planet. So yeah, it just reminds me of so many stories.
Yeah.
But that's just like of course the main thing is just like the
Or
something
if we
from
want to compare it to something like the bit from the big two, it'd be the Wonder Woman stories, pretty much. If you guys want to make it, for them to be for our viewers and everybody else to understand it, that's pretty much what these stories are like. Like this story especially. But we're gonna be going over five. We're gonna be going over in six, seven, eight. You know, so we're almost there. We're almost to issue 8 where we get where we get Vampy back. At least their
halfway
backstory
there, halfway there.
halfway there, and then after that, then you get a bunch of other issues, and then another cool little story. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I just read the first one. I didn't read the other
no,
ones.
yeah, that's fine. It's just showing everybody what like. So here we go again, where Vampy tells you the story, and then it's another another weird one. You know what I mean? So, but if you guys want, like I said, you guys have to tell me in the chat or tell me down below. Well, whoever watches on the rewind, if you guys want us to go over all the stories in in the magazine, or if you just want us to go over the whatever it's on the cover stories on it. So, or just go, or just if it's vampy, if there's a vampy one, we're gonna do is the vampy ones. But you guys got to let us know what you guys want to see. So yeah, like it's all, you know what I mean. All of this is all like another. Here's another one. You know what I mean? It's like Tara talking about like moonshiners and werewolves and stuff. So it's like, you know what I mean. So weird, all these little weird stories. And another science fiction one. You know what I mean? But they were all different stories. Like there's all different stories in here. And then here's some more. Then it shows you all the creepies
All the
that are out.
advertisements. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, all the advertisement, and then the Vampy cosplayer, the first Vampy cosplayer. I forgot her name, but yeah. So there's yeah, they showed you a bunch of stuff, and then here's that. Then here's another story. I mean, you got a lot for whatever you paid for the magazine, so you know what I mean. You got a lot for what you paid for.
yeah. Definitely for considering what was paid, what person paid for these books, and then there's a lot of short stories in there, so which is pretty
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, so yeah,
yeah,
it's very fun. I dig the '70s stuff.
yeah.
The
It was fun. It's always fun to read it, and then I just like, because that's the whole reason I'm doing this, is to figure, to find out what everybody, what everybody thinks and what you think. I mean, if you guys want me to link this down below, if you guys ever want to read it, let me know. I'll link it. You know what I mean? So you guys can actually read it along with us if you guys are watching. You know what I mean? That's up to you guys. So, like, you guys can ask us questions if you guys want, like like Bookworm did. You know what I mean? The more people, yeah. So we appreciate everybody that joins us, even on the rewind. But if you guys want to see stuff or want to learn some more stuff, let us know down in the description below. But yeah, so this story was really cool. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
yeah, I did. That's why I like to. Uh,
Well, we didn't do this with the first couple. What do you rate the story this time?
see, considering what around what for the era,
Yeah.
for the time period, I give it like I give it a 7.5. It's
The,
yeah, actually I give it like a 7.5.
That, yeah, that's about where I'm at, like
That's
a
right.
seven, like a 7 or 6. You know what I mean?
it's a fairly entertaining story.
Right,
Uh, yeah, so I get where the inspiration from the story is
right,
coming from. It's still fantasy. Fantasy
right,
is because it's like two people from two alien planets where it's all man race and then
right,
all woman race and just like the irony behind it. So it's
right.
just a fantasy where fantasy meets Twilight Zone type of thing, something out of Twilight Zone. So I dig it, and I did like because I had something out of I used to like watching reruns of the old Twilight
Right.
Zone stuff. So
Yeah,
it's good.
but like I said, we didn't do this last time with the first couple of issues, and I thought about it, but I'm like, we should rate at least rate what you think, what
Yeah,
at least what you thought of it,
yeah, because
and then what you think of the art, like, yeah,
I the cover art I like very much the paintings.
yeah, yeah,
I'm always so far even from issue 1 through 4 so far I
right,
enjoyed very much. Even
right,
with the of course issue 1 being Frank Frazetta,
right,
uh, and then all the artists the different artists that have followed so far.
right.
I enjoy it a lot. It's like but I just like
So,
because it's
well, okay,
originally a painting.
let's have you rate the cover, rate the all right, let's rate cover one, 10 out of 10.
I give it 10. I give it 10 because I've become a Frazetta fan.
Okay,
It
okay,
really
then
grew over.
cover,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like good because it's like I can see where other artists are
right.
Frazetta inspired other artists like Boris and all that. So that's why
All right.
yeah.
So cover two.
Also cover 2. That's the with was it Draculita on the
Everly.
cover? Everly, cousin
Everly's
Everly.
on the cover.
Yeah, so that one I give that one I give it a high number like I'll say 8.5
All
on that
right.
one. Yeah, it's
And
like
then
high.
we'll rate that since I still got three on here. What do you rate a three? And it's another Von Bode one.
Yeah,
It's
if I'm
down
going,
here. Von Bode, Von Bode and this guy. Um, this one.
that one I give that one an 8. You know, it's a cool cover.
Yeah.
Not as cool as the other ones, the first
Right.
two, but it's still pretty cool.
Right. Pretty cool.
So I get like an 8. Not so it's up
Yeah,
there.
it's Von Bode, man. If some people like their art, some people don't. You know what I mean? I
So
understand.
so I still dig it though. So I
Yeah,
still dig it.
and then the
Jeff Jones,
Jeffrey Johnson and the Von Bode.
if I'm
What you
about
think
it,
of this one?
I give this one. I give this like a 8.5. Pretty much the same as issue 2. Eight
Bro,
point five.
okay,
I dig it.
8.5. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm about in your boat, like a 8.5. But the only reason I think people gonna give this one a higher grade, if anybody gives it. And what? All right. Since we're doing this, I would like to see what everybody else everybody on the rewind. You guys can say it in the in the chat, in the chats, in the in the description below, down whenever we get done. What you guys grade all the covers and stuff like that. So you know what I mean. So actually, let's pull them all up again. I can pull them all up again. So let's do that. Let me pull them all up again. It'd be fun. Let me pull them all up again real quick. It'd be fun. All right, this is a 2. It's coming right now. Give it a second. I gotta load.
Load it up.
So this was 3. This was 3 here. So we already did 3, but this was 3. Just we just gotta let 2 load again. But yeah, here we go. Here's 2. Yeah. What'd you give it again?
get 8.5. But
Yeah, 8.5, yeah, because Everly's actually on the cover. You know what I mean? Her cousin's actually on the cover, and the creatures are here. So yeah, that's cool.
yeah, because
Yeah,
showing her, even though I just still find it funny that she's related to Vampirella, but is not a vampire. It's more of a,
yeah, but
like
a
a witch.
wizard.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
wizard
like a
witch
witch. Yeah,
type of thing.
yeah.
And just like because if y'all read story,
So if you guys all read this issue here,
issue 3, it's
issue
stories
three,
which is technically uh, Cousin Evilly's second appearance. Cousin
right? So it'd
Evilly's
be well let since if you guys haven't watched our issue 3 one here, what Dell's talking about is right. Nope, eh, right here.
that one right there. That
Yep.
was-
So this is the story he's talking about, where it actually tells you more about Everly, and so this is actually a minor key for Vampirella.
outside of it being a scarce book,
Yeah,
you know,
besides being scarce, so people have to read these things to
yeah,
actually find out. It's not just the covers that would sell it. But
yeah,
if you
it's a
but
minor key.
if a
It's a
movie, yeah,
pretty.
like so this book's already expensive already since it says it's scarce. But now if a movie comes and says, "Hey, Everly, what type of characters will be coming down the pipeline for Vampy?" So this one would I know this one will probably jump when the movie comes.
If it ever
Right.
comes, because I could tell you, being around when I used to live in LA, being around people in the movie business,
Yeah.
talk is cheap, and
Right.
they keep on yapping and yapping. When did Dynamite announce a movie of a newer movie of Vampirella? It was like I think what 3-4 years ago or something like that. It's been
Yeah. So
several years.
yeah. And then
Until
they ended up selling the rights to a smaller studio. So
Yeah, so until a script is done and
right.
it's officially announced it's going into production because it got all
Right.
the permits for filming and all that.
Right. Right.
Talk is just talk, and
Right.
entertainment business talk is cheap,
Right.
and nothing's official until all the permits are done. Trust me, I've been
Right.
around people in the movie and TV business that when I lived in LA, I would see it
Right.
all the time because I worked in a copy center near Warner Brothers Studios, and it was just always, it's all this stuff. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I was like, okay, okay. Talk to me when
Right.
talk to me when you got when you have when you sign the contract. Okay.
Right.
So that's pretty. And then I'll get guys that tell me it's like, hey, once it's said and done, I was like, hey, I got the movie I was just in. It's gonna hit theaters in a month. It's just they're
Right.
wrapping up editing or whatever. But but I do hope that they do a Vampirella uh,
I hope so.
movie,
Eventually, I hope so.
especially now
It
with all like technology and CGI and stuff like
right.
too. That makes it a little.
It could be better than the one
Yeah,
from '96.
yeah, exactly. Because it could do so much more, and hopefully get somebody actually a better writer, a
Right.
decent writer to. Because I think vampires can still sell
Yeah.
if it's done
And
right.
plus, this is she's from another planet on top of
Yeah,
that, so it's
yeah,
not
exactly. Because I like watching a decent vampire movie, except for Twilight.
right.
I like the movie.
Yeah, Twilight. You can have Blade go find these guys and
Yeah, because I like the movie Blade. I like the movie Underworld. Uh, some of the John Carpenter stuff that he's done, the
yeah,
vampire stuff. John Carpenter.
yep,
I was like, I enjoy a good vampire movie. I'll watch it. I like Underworld because it's vampires versus werewolves. I love that. I
yeah,
love that series. So I really do. I really do hope that they do a Vampirella movie. You know, get a female actress that can portray Vampirella and
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and do
Get
so.
a decent female. Yeah, get a
Yeah.
decent female that can actually. I thought the chick that played Wednesday could do it, but the
What's it? Ortega. Last name Ortega, I think it is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she could, but and then Ortega or and then the blonde. I was messing around. We could have her. We could have the blonde sister be be freaking Sabrina Carpenter. It'd be funny.
That's
I
funny.
thought it'd be fun, but the only problem is I I think the other one's taller than the other one, so it'd be kind of funny to have because uh, because Sabrina's only 5 foot,
Yeah,
so it'd be interesting to see. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. Be very interesting to see. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I do like this cover too, and it's pretty cool.
Right.
And then, but I like I don't know I've been admiring a lot of paintings later
Yeah.
on in life. Uh,
Right.
so which and we live like not too far away from the Salvador Dali Museum,
Right. Right.
so which I still haven't been to yet. I've been in Tampa for 11 years. I still haven't been to the Dali Museum, and I actually like his art. So
Right.
surrealism.
Right. And then yeah, like this cover's cool too, man. Like
Yeah,
just seeing this cover was good, was cool. I mean, honestly, my grades are probably about yours, or I think I give this one a little higher. You gave it a 8.5. I probably give this one like a 9.5. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because compared to compared to coming after Frazetta, you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
actually not a bad cover because
yeah,
the face is actually decent on this one. Don't
yeah.
get me wrong, Frazetta's face is okay. You know what I mean? It's not the greatest thing on the thing. You're not looking at her face, but
Mm.
for yeah, Frazetta's one's a 10 out of 10. This one's a 9.5. This one's for me probably the 3 is probably like a you see mine's opposite of yours. My the 3 is the 8.5, I think, for me.
Okay,
The eight point
got it.
five would be this one. The 8.5 would be this one. This one. Main reason I'm gonna give this one a lower one than that, like a 6.5, 7.5 ish, because this the female,
The female.
the
Yeah,
female on here. It's a
yeah,
little she's a little awkward. She's a little weird.
mm.
I understand why, you know what I mean, but you can't even tell if it's if it's alien or you know what I mean, or if it's human, you know what I mean. But I think that was the point.
yeah. I think that was the whole point behind because
Yeah.
it looks like when I look at this, it looks like this obviously another planet, but like
Right.
a
But
desert,
and then
almost like a mountainous desert
the
like
other thing
planet.
I seen about this one is I'm wondering if the creature had a tail or not, because it looks like he has a tail and it goes into the mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like maybe the editing on maybe, but yeah, again, considering it's 1970.
Actually, let's bring up the actual one.
Yeah, bring,
Oh, see, you can see
yeah,
the tail better on this one, so it is the editing on it.
yeah. Yeah, considering that was 1970.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, so it is it's the printing on it,
yeah,
because you
considering
can actually
yeah, so
you could
so
tell it. Yeah.
the point I'm going to make here is like it's 1970, so obviously they didn't have the computer technology of
Right.
Photoshop because there's no computer back
Right.
then.
No computer back then. Yeah.
Yeah,
But for what it is, I mean that it's not a bad one,
yeah,
but that I'll give the actual painting a bigger, a higher grade. But
yeah,
but the actual cover, the
yeah.
actual cover, I give it like a 6.
Yeah, because it
But
has a little bit more of a bluish, like a
right,
bluish tint to it. Yeah, if you
right,
really if you compare
and I
the
give
two.
the actual painting an actual like 7. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because I like the paint because it's like it just shows there's something that says to me like okay it's obviously another planet, a
Right,
person on the in it, what would be like their like I guess for lack of a better term like a camel or horse riding through the planet,
right.
almost almost like a alien Conan or
Yeah, yeah.
or something or
Or like Alien Xena type thing.
yeah
Like if
exactly
people want to, yeah.
like a
But
red
if
Sonia
like I
like a red
said,
Sonia.
we're grading the covers, we're grading the art. Yeah, so for now on, from 4 on, we're gonna be grading the covers. We're gonna be grading the writing, the art in it. So the for what we thought. So what did that's the other thing. What did you think of the writing in this one?
The writing. I think I thought it was fine for the time. It was definitely fine
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
time. I think it was like, oh great. I'll definitely grade it. I'll give it a decent grade. I'll give it like an 8 because I did dig the story because
yeah,
of what
yeah.
it was.
I think the story too, so I'll give it an 8 too. I'll give it an 8. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so I mean, that's what you're gonna get because that's what they thought would sell because it was they thought the Twilight Zone stuff since the Twilight Zone stuff was really good. They go, oh, we'll just do that, but it's named Vampire. The book's named Vampirella, but we won't have her in it. We just have her as a host. So yeah, so
exactly. Yeah. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna look up something real quick. I'm gonna see when Twilight Zone TV
mhm.
show was on air.
So it's probably in between, probably the same time this was, or a little sooner, or a
I have a feeling it
little.
was. I have a feeling it was a little bit earlier because it was during. It was black and white.
What's going on, G? Long time no see.
What up, G? So the original Twilight Zone was
Uh-huh.
aired from 1959 to 1964 with 156 episodes. So, considering that this was done in what's up, G man? And considering it was done 1970, so it's still kind
Right,
of fresh in people's heads. So
right,
that's why it still gave you that vibe of Twilight
right.
Zone. You know,
So I'm looking forward to going down the line and reading these things and rereading these things and seeing what you think of them, man. Because I've always enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I've like you said, it you can tell what time it's from. You know what I mean? It's no if answer buts. You can tell what time these things are from. Like I said. Well, since G's in here, well, we'll ask his opinion if he's around. If he'll write in the chat. So, like we were saying earlier, G, we're gonna be great. We're gonna be grading. We're gonna be grading covers of them, and then we're gonna be talking about the interior story of it for now on. So from number 4 on, we're gonna be grading. Grading story, grading cover what we thought of the covers and what we thought of the stories, and if Dell actually enjoyed the story or not, and he could give his thumbs up, thumbs down, or maybe.
yeah, be like the movie The Gladiator. Yeah. What's that? What it? Say hello.
Oh, he's giving it a 9.
9. Cool.
All right, G. But
Peace.
yeah, like these stories are like Twilight Zone stories for actually I think it's for at least until 8 again. 8 and then we'll get into vampy stories again. So it's going to be interesting to see what what your take on next week's story is because next week's cover, if nobody knows, it's actually Frazetta cover.
Yeah.
So it's actual Frazetta cover next week. And I'll have a bunch more stuff on that one, but it's gonna be cool to just see everybody, everything about it. But if you ever want to jump in, let me know. I'll send you a story. You know what I mean? I'll send just pick whatever issue you want to be jump on, and I'll send it to you. So let me know, like if any of you guys want to join in on the fun on Vampy Book Club. You know what I mean? I want to see what everybody's thoughts is about these old school magazines.
All right. G sounds like he's down in the future. So,
Yeah,
Jeff, reach out to our friend here, G Man, and we'll,
yeah,
more the merrier. The more the merrier.
yeah. I used to run a show with G, so you're
Oh,
more
cool.
than welcome to come on here. So, like I said, we're gonna be grading the covers. We're gonna be talking about the interior stories because Dell's never actually read these things. So this whole book club idea was to have other people that have not touched a Vampy at all and just says Vampy's a booby book. And I want to see what their idea of her is now, reading the old school stuff and seeing their eyes of Oh, what? Okay, Vampy's more than a booby book,
I still,
or more than
well,
covers.
I still, well, knowing the other books you collect, I still think you
Yeah,
like booby books.
yeah. I still think I like booby books, but but it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see everybody's take on honor. You know what I mean? Everybody's so, oh, it's just all covers, man. Nobody really reads the interior stuff. So now that's why I created Vampy Book Club to introduce other people.
I say, hey, G-Man, so you have a lot of comic magazines? That's cool, man. I just
Yeah,
I got like a bunch myself recently, or kind of recently, back
yeah.
in December. So that's always in
Well,
it.
well, yeah. Well, he actually reached out to me and asked me about a bunch of stuff, and the idea was I already had this idea. It's
Yeah,
just Dell actually pushed it into action.
yeah, yeah. So,
Because I
I
go,
just,
it'd be kind of fun to actually do this, and I wanted to see what Dell's what your take and what your idea would be. So because you've never read any of this stuff, so it's kind of fun to see you're from through a fresh set of eyes. You know what I mean? I'm a fan, so you're not a fan, to see if you could be a fan.
yeah, so, yeah. They have, yeah. So that's what I've been noticing. Some have some cool stories in it. I haven't really read through them all because, like,
Right.
I'll tell you what happened here, G-Man. Because so back in December, I was on vacation and I didn't really go anywhere last year. So I came, kind of this person's collection kind of fell in my lap. Woman's husband passed away. You know, usual story that one will hear. Left behind a bunch of comics, and it was a full run of Vampirella magazines, full run of Creepy
Creepies.
magazine,
Yeah.
and nearly a full run of Eerie. The only one that was missing
I
was issue
mean,
one.
some people consider it a full run, but if you don't count the
issue,
the ash
issue
can.
one, yeah, that issue one, because issue one is like there's two of them. The original one was a very low print ash can, and then they did a second print,
Yeah.
and it had and talking including the annuals as well
Right.
for all
So
three.
Dell actually, yeah. So
I
Dell
reached
actually
out to
got.
I bought them all. I reached out to Jeff. I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna offer to sell you this much amount of money. What do you think?" It's like, and he was like, "Dude, that's a good price. That's fine."
Yeah.
I went a little bit over, not by much. It's literally not by much. It was like a couple $100,
Right.
but but it was like
But you made out like a bandit
I made like
because
a bandit. Yeah, I made like a bandit. It
yeah,
was like
he
still
made out like a bandit, and
yeah,
then the idea was I already had this idea. I just didn't have nobody to actually jump off, to work off of.
yeah. So it was yeah, yeah. So yeah, what's Jimmy say here? You cool. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Jeff, you know what to do with this collection when he hits the dirt.
Yeah, yeah,
Wait till his final rest. Just,
yeah. But like I said, G, you ever want to get involved? Hit me up because we're more than happy to have you on. But I have a bunch of stuff in the works with Vampy Book Club because
and Steve too. He
I
says something
gotta,
on the
yeah.
Steve too. That's pretty fun. G man, dude, you definitely yeah, we'll have to work out something so you could be on the one of the episodes here soon, man. So
Yeah,
you seem like a
yeah,
fun
but
guy.
like I said, we're all, you know what I mean? We're all, I would just want to see what everybody's idea, what everybody thinks of it, what everybody thinks of it, since I have the whole run of the magazines on digital. So I can always send you guys a digital copy, see what you guys thought, and see what you guys think. But for now, from 4 on, we're going to be grading. So, guys, in the chat, in the rewind, if you guys want to grade the covers by what you guys are gonna grade them at, grade them down in the description below. Watch the other episodes, grade, do the same thing, grade it down in the description below. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to me yet, and you can always find us on Instagram. But
Yeah, what you
like
see
I
me here
said,
on my you see my name on here on the screen. That's my Instagram at Deliman Diaz. That's me.
Right.
So
So that's that's what we got, man.
yeah, for sure.
Will do. I got you, G.
For
So
sure.
well, just hit me up and let me know whenever you're free or whenever you're able to do this. I'll jump you on with us. We'll have some fun like like we used to. But
Heck
like
yeah.
I said, these things are gonna be fun because I have a bunch of stuff in the works. Me and Dell have talked backstage. He knows I have stuff in the works.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just, it
Yeah.
takes time. It takes time and it takes work for
Yeah. So
stuff to work itself out.
yeah, we're gonna be
Yep.
we're gonna keep on teasing some other things too. Not only we're gonna have talk about books, but there's gonna be some other stuff too.
Yeah,
You
there's
know,
gonna be some other stuff, some other cool stuff
yeah, which
down.
yeah, just to kind of break up the routine. And I
Yeah,
think
break up the routine a little bit, but
yeah,
you guys are gonna be pleasantly surprised. But
exactly.
the other things are I'm gonna get.
Jeff, you're in G-Man's will. That's what he's saying. Just that's funny. uh, oh man, morbidly, morbidly funny. That's awesome. G-Man, you're funny.
Yeah. So we're all, you know what I mean. So we're gonna be good. So, like I said, the new style of from 4 going on is we're gonna be giving the cover grades. We're gonna give the story a grade, and we're gonna give the story art grades too. So so if you guys are in the live chat when we're doing this, you guys can grade it in the chat with us. You guys can grade it in there, rewind when you guys are watching this. So
Kobe 60. Oh man, oh, heck yeah. Hey, it's time to celebrate, my friend. Another year of life is always good, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
but like I said, this, you know what I mean. This Vampy Book Club is open to everybody. Just let me know, and we'll pop you on and then see what you guys think of the stories of these old magazines. Because it's not just to look at it's not just to look at covers, man. There's actually actual story in it. Because Dell thought these were just covers
yeah.
originally.
Exactly. Especially with modern comics nowadays, it's like there's like a
Yeah,
million variants to everything.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that's
So it'd be just fun to you know what I mean, just not to read older stuff just to see. But if you guys want to see us, grade some read some new stuff, let us know. If you guys want us to do that, you guys got to let me know. But if
heck
you
yeah,
don't, we're gonna keep on going until we get to the last issue, 113, or
absolutely.
112 if you go by Warren. So
Yeah, yeah. Because technically, it's 1 through 112 is Warren, and
yeah,
113 and
yeah,
113 is Harris. So you really like the Vampire Tales?
yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that a modern
he's a big Morbius guy. Morbius,
Marvelous?
Blade, anything, any of the yeah. So any of that stuff, it's G, and then
Okay.
Golden Age stuff a lot. Yeah, so it's a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, yeah. So I
Oh,
already know G. So,
oh, cool.
but yeah. So, but like I said, we
So
already know.
G-Man, quick question for you. So since you're a do you like? I'm assuming that you like vampire movies. So what do you think of? Do you like Twilight? I'm just joking.
He don't like the foo vampires. He likes the ones that actually fight people.
It says yes. He said yes. Look, he says yes in the chat. Hell no. He said, oh, hell no. He said, hell no. He said, no.
Like I
So
said, he don't like the foo vampire. Like I said,
no, he wants a legit vampire. So
yeah, he
I'm
wants a
sorry.
legit one that actually gonna bite you, not gonna
Yeah,
actually make you fall in love with it.
yeah. So I'm sure you like a lot of John Carpenter stuff and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So he's a big horror buff guy too, man. So he loves everything horror. He loves everything, you know what I mean? Everything macabre.
Yeah, for real. That's cool.
Yeah, so but like I said like I've been saying from the first one. If you guys want to join in, all it takes is all it takes is to let me know on IG you want to hop in. I'll send you a link, and then I'll send you I'll send you a digital file of one of the issues or whatever, and you can let me know what you got. Or me, you, Dell, or whoever comes on, we can talk about it, rate the covers, rate the story, and see what everybody thinks of the story. Because I know the person that's gonna come on is gonna be just like Dell, never read it, and wasn't a fan originally. But maybe I can turn you guys into at least a small fan of Vampy by the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I could tell you my honest, true feedback on this, and honest feelings about it is like, I was like, I knew about Frazetta artwork
Right.
a little bit. Yeah, I knew a little bit about it, but now that I've hung out with Jeff in the past couple of years and all, I got to know Jeff. He's really showed me more Frazetta stuff. So
Right.
my appreciation and fondness of Frank Frazetta's artwork has grown even more. He's added to one of my top favorite artists, and
Yeah.
painters. So
Dude, but
I
he
got
could he could he was a multi-talented one, man. He could
yeah,
do anything. He could have
yeah,
he could have done carpentry. He could have done the carpet. You know what I mean? Carving stuff. He could have done any of it. It's just, but
yeah,
yeah, dude. He taught himself. Yeah.
yeah. So, uh, he finished all his Mylar stuff, Jeff. Mylar Mads,
Ah,
yeah,
that's
and
cool.
all the Golden Age stuff. Cool, cool. Yeah,
That's cool. That's always cool. Yeah. And then, like I
yeah,
said, yep.
absolutely.
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun for me. I love going. I love talking about Vampirella. I love talking about Frazetta. Don't know this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's like I can tell you what I appreciate about the Frazetta family is that Frank Frazetta's daughter, Sarah Frazetta, is really
granddaughters. Yeah,
granddaughter, yeah, is really keeping the legacy alive
yeah.
and how she
And she's
pushes.
really that's one thing I love about Sarah is that she's trying to keep her grandfather in the forefront
Yeah,
and not to forget about him. So
yeah.
that's cool.
So
That's super cool
I
about
admire.
that.
Yeah, I really admire her.
Yeah, how hard she's working, and
Yes, exactly,
I know her grandfather, her grandmother, all of them would be so freaking proud of her right now because
exactly,
how hard she's working.
exactly.
Because, but like I said, all the fans appreciate her. We know that for sure. All his fans appreciate her for sure.
Absolutely.
And he inspired a lot of people, man.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. Because
Not dude, non-comic book people, artists, you know what I mean, movie people, like he's inspired a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's right, G man. Yeah. So
Yep.
and yeah, so like I can because even when I see look at like Boris art, stuff like that, and
Yeah.
like his art and
And Boris is getting up there. And Julie Bell's getting up there. All of them are getting up there.
yeah,
But the kids are actually continuing. Like
yeah,
Julie and then Boris's sons are actually artists themselves.
mm.
So
Yeah. Exactly. I see
this
that.
is that's super. Yeah, so this is super cool. So for now on, like I said, from four on, we're gonna be grading the covers. We're gonna be talking about the stories. I'm gonna keep on repeating it until so if people who are just jumping in, or watching on the rewind understand what we're doing. But the new thing is since we've done 4 episodes so far, the next for 5, 6, and on, we're gonna be grading what we think of the covers, grading what we think of the interior art. I already know by the time we get to when Gonzalez jumps on this thing, we're gonna be grading Gonzalez's art by tens at least. That was gonna be like, damn, like. But by the time we get to Gonzalez's part of the run, but I can't wait until we get actually get back into actually some more vampy stories, and some of those stories are actually decent. Some of those stories are some of the stories are corny, but you guys understand of the like Dell's been saying from the beginning, the time period. You guys have to remember what time period this was. It was the 70s and the 60s and 70s, and a little bit of actually no, none of the 80s because when it finally ended, it wasn't even in the 80s.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, so we'll see you guys next week with issue 5. We'll check you guys later. And me and Del are signing out. We'll see you later, G. And then we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, talk to you
Next
soon.
episode.
For real.